Mi. Record ba? Tangan mo yung makarecord.
Nanang ke?
Tersi kami po. Ay, mag-record ito.
Kapag ano ka? Marami ka.
Just like what I informed the other sections, I will not be doing correlates of here, so I will not be discussing them detail for detail. Otherwise, the correlates are the first one is the diversified characteristic of a man establishes his nature as a social and rational animal. Man's essence is a sense of belongingness. So obviously the first thesis statement presents to us the social thought of Plato. And according to Plato, he believes that every human being is unique insofar as he or she is endowed with certain abilities and potentials. And he also believes that it's reality, in fact, true, that no two persons in this world are similar, are same. It is a fact that every existing being possesses certain difference. And that is what we cannot remove in our lives. We are all different by virtue of our own existence. In that sense, we are diversified. There are things that we are expert of that other human beings are not expert of. And the feeling is mutual. There are things that other people possess, and there are things that we actually don't possess. In that sense, we come to a realization that we need to belong to each other. By understanding our weakness, we come to a understanding that we actually need others. Thus, we ourselves submit to the consequence of being and living in a society, being with other people. For it is only in that sense that we actually can define the meaning of survival. As Aristotle said, man's nature is belongingness. No man is an island. Man is a social and rational animal. It is in fact our own rationality that tells us there are things that we are capable of doing and there are things that we are not capable of doing. And so it is suicidal to live alone. Because in fact, that is against our very nature as social animal, as dictated by our own reason. Number two. Number two is a statement is connected to the first statement. The survival of the society depends on complementation. This mutualism is realized through social responsibility. As what we have stated in the first thesis statement, the survival of the society needs the ability of every individual to relate well with each other. That is by means of complementation. I am able to fulfill what is lacking in you, and you are able to fulfill what is lacking in me. And in that sense, we are able to establish a society with strong foundation. It is not a society that is selfish. Rather, it is a society that continues to exist with each other in a spirit of mutualization. As we have mentioned in the first thesis statement, we have what we call advantages and disadvantages as a person, and failure to adapt or failure to contribute in what we call community building is irresponsibility. Or in fact, responsibility is the ability to respond to the needs. Responsibility is not just doing what we are asked to do. Responsibility is rather our ability to respond to situation for all. And obviously, to live in a society is to experience several call from people. When we see people in need, and we are capable of actually giving something, sharing something, our resources, our talent, there is what you call the chance to be responsible. When the poor tries to call us, when the needy tries to hold us, when the oppressed tries to hold us, then it only gives us more and more chances of exercising our responsibility. We respond because there is a call, and the call comes from the needy. And time will come, we will also be doing the calling when it's about time that we need other people. And this is the only way that we can actually define and continue to perform the meaning of justice as Plato defines it. Justice as giving our best, giving our expertise. We are not expected to go beyond our abilities. What we are expected is to respond to the call of others to the best of our abilities. Because it will also be injustice to perform actions that are beyond our capacities and abilities. For we will only be putting people and in fact the whole society in danger. Rather, it is only responding to the call of what we can actually contribute. We are not called to go beyond our responsibilities, but we are rather called to perform what we can actually do sa abot ng ating mga kaya. Questions or what? Para ako nag-deliver ng speech. Third is about freedom. Freedom is an imperative to do what is good and indeed what is evil. This statement continues lead us to a new perspective about freedom. Our general notion of freedom is our ability to do what we want in life. If I am free, I am able to do anything. But this statement contradicts that notion. Freedom is rather doing our duties, and that duty is geared towards promoting good and impeding what is evil. Could we still therefore hold that a sense of freedom when it is in fact a duty? You have to do this. Would we actually consider it freedom when it is actually demanded of us? Well, indeed, yes. Why? Because we must see freedom in such perspective, like freedom is actually doing the good thing. We cannot associate freedom with doing the bad thing. For if freedom is associated with doing the bad thing, then we will end up with killing each other. Say, if a person is free to kill, then who among us will actually survive? In the end, it will just be social chaos. The view of freedom as doing what we want is actually the whole of society. If freedom allows you to kill, if you view freedom in that way, doing what you want, thus it gives you the privilege of killing someone, then it actually violates another freedom, the freedom to live. And if freedom contradicts each other, then what can we hold to as true freedom? Freedom to live versus freedom to kill. What is freedom in that sense? Would you rather kill or would you rather promote life? If we are allowed to kill, who of us is safe to go outside our homes? If we are allowed to hurt anybody, who of us is safe to go out of our house? I think you will never go out of the house. If it's a freedom to kill, it has been a long time that you build your social philosophy. For in fact, that is what pleases you. But we do not understand freedom in that sense, since I could just do the same to you. Especially for Monday. But I will not do that, because I have the right notion of freedom. And that is doing what is good. Because if we have a right understanding of freedom as doing what is good, then we will be able to stop evil. We will just be promoting what is necessarily right and avoid what is evil in a final sense. Are you with the point? Fourth, dami pa? Justice transcends equality. It presupposes one's fulfillment of duties to his or her fellow. The notion of justice has long been equated throughout history, associated, with what we call equality. Our understanding of equality is very numerical in origin. Equality means sameness, similarities. 5 is equal to 5. 6 is equal to 6. That is why, if I give 5 clothes to elder son, I should also be giving 5 clothes to the younger son, by virtue of equality. 3 slices of pizza for me, and so 3 slices of pizza for you. That is our general notion of justice. But lest we forget of John Rawls' concept of justice, justice as fairness, or a sense of distributive justice. Justice cannot just be equality in terms of numbers. In fact, justice must transcend numbers. Rather, justice focuses on condition, on context, on situation. If a person deserves 5 clothes, the other person is supposed to be given 5 clothes. But consider the condition. She simply does not love clothes. She'd rather have money. And is that not the common experiences of some? Rather than giving you a gift, they would just be asking to change it to money. Or in fact, they would have the choice to buy the product they like. Rather than 5 clothes for the elder brother, and another 5 clothes for you. Consider the situation. You do not need clothes, more clothes. That's our problem. Say, I should give 6 clothes to the younger brother because he has only 4 clothes. And I should only be giving 1 cloth to the elder brother because he has 12 clothes. The concept of justice here is that to the one who has less, much should be prioritized for him or her. To those who has more, I think little should be given, not because there is a strong sense of favoritism. There is no such thing as favoritism in that sense. Then what do we have? It is only a response to the condition. And what's the condition? The younger brother needs more. The elder brother needs less. So why not do that? Rather than giving something that may not be useful to a person. I give the brother 1 car. And I give the elder brother 2 cars. And the elder brother has already 5 cars. What would happen to the things, to the cars I gave? They will not be used after all. While many people are in need of cars, here are the rich people wasting their resources. When in fact, many people are actually needing more resources. Kung sino pa ang mas mayaman, sila ang mas marami at nagmamaksaya ng mga bagay-bagay. Samantalang ang mga mahihirap na walang-wala, lalo pa sila hindi na pagbibigyan. Same thing with our social justice. For MCC, Mabalacat residents should be prioritized, of course. Because the taxes comes from Mabalacates. Okay? Siyempre, more should be forgiven to them because this is their school. But we also consider the fact that there are people who are actually good and deserves to study also. That's why we also give what is due to you. Justice is considering the situation of every person. 5. The essence of government and laws is an exercise of man's freedom. We must leave our general notion that laws and governments are hindrance to our freedom. We hate the government because it stops us from doing what we want. More so, we hate the laws because they also stop us from doing what gives us pleasure. And so we see laws and governments as hindrances to our freedom. But this thesis statement reminds us that laws and government are in fact not hindrance to our freedom, because the absence of laws and government is actually our own loss of freedom. Imagine a society without laws and government. All people can absolutely do what they want, even up killing us. Then, the problem now is, how would I safely go to malls? I have the right to go to mall. I have the right to give pleasurable things to myself. But how would I do that? If any time I could just be killed by a person. Why could I be killed by any person? Because there are no laws to stop people from killing you. How safe are you with the absence of laws? Thus, laws in fact protect us. Laws and government in fact preserve our freedom. Primarily, we are free to go outside. We can walk outside freely because we feel secure and safe. Why do you feel secure and safe? Because there are laws that will stop people from harming you. Because if people harm you, then you can actually accuse them. You can actually accuse them for promoting what? Violence? Or for example, inflicting pain? I forget that law. What law is that? Physical injury, right? But imagine, if there's no such thing as law for physical injury, I could not just do what I want, like going outside freely, right? Because anytime, if you feel to hurt me, I could just do that. Why? No one would stop me. But thank God there are laws. Why? At least I know I cannot just hurt you, even if I want to. Why? Because I'm guided by laws. So in turn, laws and government preserve our very freedom. No one can just overpower us. No one can just over-dominate us, because in front of government and laws, we are supposed to be equal. And that is in fact the very monogram or logo of the Department of Justice. A lady with blindfold. Why? Because in front of the law, no one is above the law. We are all equal. Because if law is not equal, then it is not to be called as law, because it will still promote overpowering. But primarily, law avoids overpowering, power play of superior people over the weak people. Tama na? Tuloy na? Tuloy pa? Sure.
Sir, kailangan na po. Pwede naman bumalik.
Pwede mo na po yung gusto mo disclaimer.
Gusto mo balik.
Okay. Sige, sir.
Pero tuloy yun po.
Okay, so just step out po sa inyo. I think you are ready to go. Alright. 6. The evolution of the society is always directed to the telos. The telos acts as the supreme basis for all human actions. The sixth thesis statement resonates Aristotelian philosophy. Remember, Aristotle's philosophy of metaphysics explained to us that every existing being has supposed to be both an existent and as an end. Meaning to say, whether a person or a thing, it serves for a purpose. And that thing or person must always achieve its purpose. Because failure to achieve the purpose means the non-significance or the non-essence of its existence. What do we mean? Consider a person. Every person living in this world simply do not exist. Meaning to say, I do not simply exist as a person, but rather, as a person, I must achieve something, I must do something that would actually make me a person. Ang tao ay hindi lang basta tao, ngunit ang tao ay tinatawag bilang upang pagpakatao. Our purpose or sense of telos. Same thing in our society. Well, same thing in our society. The society has all this purpose. And according to Aristotle, the very purpose of our society is to make every citizen virtuous, to make every citizen happy. Because that is in fact the end of every person. We must achieve eudaimonia or ultimate happiness. But this ultimate happiness is only possible if we understand happiness as a pursuit for something good, something that is virtuous. Meaning to say, we can only be truly happy if our happiness is anchored in what we call goodness. Like for example, you are happy to have a cell phone. That's why you buy a cell phone. But why is it that you want to have a cell phone? Because I want to be happy. But more than happiness, why is it that you want to have a cell phone? Because I want to communicate with my family. Why do you want to communicate with your family? Because I want to know if they are okay. Why do you want to know if they are okay? Because I'm concerned for them. Why are you concerned for them? Because I love them. Why do you love them? Because that's supposed to be the good thing. I should be, what do you call that? I should be conscious or aware or concerned for them. So in the end, it's not only the pleasure of having self-will. Happiness in the end, in the final telos, is actually goodness. We are happy to have these things. But if you summarize all the why we want to have these things, it will all end up with the desire to be good to people. And so, Aristotle reminds us that our goal as persons is to do what is good. Because it is only doing good that we really become happy. But Aristotle reminds us it is never easy to be good. It involves a process. No person is born perfectly good. No person is perfectly born virtuous. No person is born excellent. Because true excellence becomes only possible by means of entering in the process of trying to be the best. Goodness does not end as good. Goodness must end up to be better. And better is not still enough. Why? Better must still be the best. Remember the saying, good, better, best. Don't let it rest till good becomes better and better becomes best. It's not easy to be excellent, but unless you strive, you will not be able to achieve that. Same thing in education. We study to excel. But if you will not be helping yourself with this long and tedious process of school years in your life, your education will be meaningless. You study in school to be good. That's why our concept of education must be transformative. Because at the end of your college years, if you can say to yourself, nothing has changed in you, you were not transformed to a good person, maybe the money you spent in your education was not worth it after all. It's not easy to be good, but by challenging ourselves to do good every day, we can actually somehow achieve a sense of excellence. 7. Religion is the opiate of the society, goes forth for authentic religion. Resonates Marxist philosophy and Marxist thought. He actually does not despise religion, but he continues to give a critique of religion. He continues to challenge our notion and belief in religion. Our idea of religion is so ideal that everything is sold by our religion. That in the end, everything goes to heaven and goes back to God. But then again, forget our own human abilities and existence. That's a very critique of Marx. At times, religion becomes oppressive. At times, religion continues to alienate us because we are not able, in fact, to develop our own self-potentials because we put everything in religion. When we are sick, rather than seeing a doctor, we go to a priest, we go to our pastors, we go to healers. who are not even fact doctors. When we have wound, rather than placing medicine in it, we rather put holy water in it. When we have problems, rather than solving our problems, we sing novenas. In passing oral exams, we pray the rosary. And we don't actually study our lesson. That's in fact the critique of Marx to religion. Religion does not develop us. Religion does actually what religion does of us, makes of us, is what? It makes us lazy after all. I don't want to believe that that's one reason why many Filipinos are lazy. Why? Because they are promised heaven. Don't worry if you are poor. Why? Because the Bible says, happy are the poor. And so rather than striving hard, don't worry. Hakuna matata, no worries. There will be paradise, there will be heaven. And that is in fact the critique and challenge of Marx. Is that your understanding of religion? You view religion as the only last hope. Well, that is the critique of Marx. Religion should not be a false hope. Rather, religion must actually be an avenue to develop our potentials. What is Marx's concept of religion? It's not but Alan. The true meaning of Marx's religion is nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa. 8. Labor is the product of man's consciousness. Man's labor is the main element of historical material consciousness. This is also philosophy of Karl Marx. It presents to us Marx's critique of the philosopher Hegel. The German idealism of Hegel has actually defined on how philosophers actually did the world. Marx criticized philosophers because many philosophers have only interpreted the world and forgot the meaning and main role of philosophy, which is of course to change the world. They have presented beautiful philosophies in the world, but nothing happened because the change that they are talking about is only ideal. They forgot to materialize it. It simply rested on the consciousness of people. Philosophers talk so sweet. Philosophers talk so convincing. But never were they able to encourage people to really change the world. And so what is the solution of Marx? Marx suggests that we should actually be doing hard work. We should be actually doing hard labor. Because change is never attained sitting on one corner and then thinking of change. We must in fact materialize our labor. We are not just laboring for nothing. We are not just working hard for nothing. If we really want something done, then we must work hard and make it and present it and materialize it. And this is also the concept of Marx's critique against the social classes. The rich, the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie. The reason why Marx wanted to equalize the society is because the bourgeoisie has overpowered the proletariat. The laborers, the proletariats are working hard, but they are not able even to experience the product of their labor. They make cars, but they cannot even buy a car. They teach students, but they cannot even teach their own children because of the many demands of the work. We are so ideal that we demand so much work from our laborers, but we forget that they also deserve something. According to Marx, the laborer must see himself or herself in the product. Meaning to say, the laborer must be proud of his work. And the laborer can only be proud of his work if he can actually experience his work. A farmer is happy when in fact he is able to see people eat the rice he planted. He sees his labor effective. But the farmer would be even happier if he himself is able to eat the rice he actually plants. He sees himself in his labor. When you do a artwork in humanities, you become happy when you see the end product. And you just want to show it to the world. And it's a bonus when people see it very nice. Because it's not just an artwork. It's yourself that is in the artwork. It's not just rice. It's the farmer, perspiration. As the Chinese saying goes, for every 1 grain of rice is 1 drop of perspiration of the farmer. If you know that and understand that, how can you waste grains of rice? When it is a product of labor.
Mga na ka.
9. Existential. Lastly, existentialism is founded on the date of existence as its essence. The human being is confined in the process of becoming. Existentialism is a school of philosophy. It's an ideology. And generally, you can summarize existentialism in promoting freedom. The opposite of existentialism is essentialism. Essentialism tells us that I cannot just do what I want because I have to follow essences. Existentialism tells us another way around. It's another way around. Why? Existentialists tell us that I am born to give meaning to my existence. Not essences. Well, that's what the essentialists are telling us. For the essentialists, everything has essence. But for the existentialists, there's no such thing as essence. If there is something essential, that is, I exist. I exist, and I will exist. Because existentialism hates essences. Because essences tells us, ganito ka dapat. Because this is your essence. If you're a chair, so you cannot be a board, so you just be a chair. But for human beings, you cannot just dictate a human person. Because a person interprets his life. That is in fact what the essentialists tell us. Before you exist, there are already essences in the world. But existentialists tell us we can change the essences. That's the difference of existentialists and essentialists. Why do we have to always to follow that? Why is it that education should always be like this, like this, like this? Can it not be the other way around? You see, education of your parents is different from education now. Why is it like that? Because we see other dimensions. Like for example, before we are not aware of the multiple intelligence of Gardner. Now we have multiple intelligences. Noon, dapat puro, dapat everything. But nowadays, we begin to recognize that it doesn't mean that if a student failed in mathematics, he's a bad student. Maybe he's rather good in music. Maybe he's rather good in other fields. No? But before, if you are poor in one subject, that would already dictate that you are a poor student. Lalo-lalo na kung PE ka pa bumagsak. Pag bumagsak ka sa PE, all the more that you are a poor student. PE niya mo, bagsak ka pa. But, hey, that's not the essence of being a student. It's not just about passing all your grades. There is more than that essence. The problem with essence is, who sets essence? Who sets essence? Existentialists tell us to go out of the box. Because if you will be limited inside the box, you will not enjoy your existence. You will acting like robots. I only have to do this because this is what is associated. This is the curriculum, this is the standard, this is what the professor wants. How about if I want to do this thing? You cannot do that because this is the requirement. That's a problem. For example, you want to take this course, but your parents says, no, you take this course. You will not enjoy your existence in the world. I mean, you only live once. And then you can still actually do the things that you think you have the potential to do. I mean, you have the potential to do. So that's the difference between existentialists and existentialists. For the essentialists, even before you're born, like Plato, they're already word of ideas. Sinasabi ko sa inyo.
Sir, paalam ko.
Video na, video yun eh. Parang hindi mo na hinahawakan. Parang hindi mo hinahawakan.
Shucks na sila. Padala.
At luna lang mo naman eh. Ay, adwa na lang mo, diba? Okay na siguro ito na, sir.
Kuya, pakilala niyo lang.
Oh, stop mo na, be. Hindi na siya mag-ano.
Consciousness of consciousness. Phenomenology is also a school of philosophy. It was developed by Edmund Husserl. And phenomenology...
Sermon prophecy.
And
Sir, ang naman
visa,
ang view. Chan mo lang yung record yun.
phenomenology is school of philosophy, ideology developed by Edmund Husserl. Generally, phenomenology is known to be a consciousness of consciousness. It's always a consciousness of something. Okay? It doesn't mean that you are aware of something, automatically you are conscious of something. I mean, by this time, you are aware that you are inside the room. But there are lots of things that is actually happening inside the room. Say, why is the electric fan has that sound? Why are there no people inside the room? Why is the sound like that? Why is the smell like that? Why is it so warm? I mean, there are a lot of things happening there. It's not just being aware that you're inside the room. That is why phenomenology is equal to be conscious of something. It's not just being there, but being conscious of something. You are aware that you are driving, you are a driver, but while driving, you are actually telling stories to your companion. Are you aware of your driving, or are you aware of the stories you're saying? Phenomenology tells us that even if you are doing something, there are still lots of things for you to realize. Maybe if there's one term to describe phenomenology, that is realization. When you are inside the sabungan, you begin to realize it's not just the chicken fighting. I realized that there are different kinds of people inside that. There is a Cristo, there are sabula, there are sabote. But sometimes we are not conscious of these things because we're just there to watch. But even if we are watching, still, phenomenology allows us to realize other things. That is why it is said that phenomenology is geared towards what we call Lebensbild, our worldview, how we actually view the world. And how we view the world presupposes so many experiences. It's not just riding a jeep in going here, but it's realizing the kind of people you meet inside the jeep, and why they act like that, and why is it that they act like that. In short, phenomenology is throwing yourself into the experience. You are aware of what's poverty, but it's different when you throw yourself into the experience of living in a squatter area. It's different. You know what's in the subway, but it's different if you throw yourself inside the subway. There are realizations. Before you studied here, you already have concept of MCC. But still different when you actually throw yourself and be a student of MCC. Because it is only by throwing yourself into the very experience, it is only by being conscious of something that you can actually end up in realization. How to realize? And Bonhoeffer tells us by bracketing. Before you studied at MCC, you have already something about MCC. But if you will not bracket that, you will never see other possibilities. Bracketing means pagpapanaklong, bracketing your biases, bracketing or echo-shape, bracketing your judgments. Because by bracketing your judgments, you become open to realities. How would you know if the food is good? If you live in the preconceived ideas that people say it's not good. You don't eat this food because it's not delicious. It doesn't look delicious. But how would you be able to realize if it's really good if you don't taste it? It's different if you throw yourself with the very experience. So you bracket your apprehension. Because if you bracket your judgment, there will be possible appreciation. That's phenomenology.
Last na, sir, last na, karma, golden rule, nirvana.
And all of those are causalities.
Causalities.
What is good or what is bad among Asians is not about normative ethics. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. If you summarize Asian ethics, it's based on causalities. They know what is good or what is bad, not because it is written, not because it is the strict rules, but what is good or what is bad among Asians is actually based on causalities. You know this is good because it has good effect. You know it is bad because it has bad effect. I don't have to do that because I know it will have bad effect. I should do this because it will have good effect. I could not do that because karma prevents me to do that, because karma wants me whatever I do will have an effect. If I do good, I'll be reincarnated to something great. If I do bad, I'll be reincarnated to other evil forms. Same thing with Confucian ethics. Do not do the golden rule. Do not do to others what you don't want to do. I mean, no principle of the end does not justify the means. The end justifies the means. Kantian ethics, normative ethics. The difference of Asian philosophy and Western philosophy is Western philosophy is so theoretical. Asian philosophy is so practical. Is it not practical if you do this? That is how people will also be treated. Golden rule. Or you want it the nirvana way. If you attach yourself so much to non-worldly things, is it not practical? If you attach so much yourself to non-worldly things, and then you lose it, will it not result to suffering? It's very practical. When you love too much something, and you are attached to it, ends up in suffering. Same thing with paradise and heaven. Muslims, Christians, see it as an award. You do good, God will award you. You do bad, you will be sent. So what it seems now is that almost all Asian religions are summarized into positive.